Have you ever wondered which Black Ops 6 map will make you cry in the corner like a little sad camper, or which one will make you feel like a god while tossing grenades like confetti?
No, not particularly, but...
Well, today, in celebration of Black Ops 7's release, I want to rank every multiplayer map in BO6 from absolute trash to chef's kiss perfection. Buckle up, it's probably going to get messy with some of these selections, just a warning. But hey, it's Cobra here to save you from all the paid, dishonest, sellout opinions out there on games, movies, and shows. Today's video is going to be basically therapy. We're going to be diving into all the multiplayer maps from Black Ops 6. Some of them were designed by people that hate fun, and others feel like a party of a bunch of people just shooting each other and enjoying every single second of it because it's loads of fun. Just FYI, we're going to just do the standard 6v6 maps in today's video, so no strike or gunfight maps, and all the remakes from the old games are excluded as well because you know Call of Duty loves those. Before we get too far ahead of ourselves though, as always, I want to thank all 2,400 of you that have subbed to the channel so far. Would love to hit 3,000 by the time 2026 comes around, and I'm confident we can do that, so if you want to help us grow towards that goal and enjoy videos about games, movies, and shows, then maybe consider hitting that subscribe button to stick around for the future. I'm just saying, it's a pretty good deal if you ask me.
I'm gonna need you to relax.
But without further ado, let's rank all 25 of these Black Ops 6 maps from the worst thing you've ever played to borderline greatness.
Number 25.
Of course, we gotta begin with number 25 at the bottom of the barrel, also known as Dead Last, and one of the worst maps, not just in Black Ops 6, but I would say Call of Duty history in my opinion. My take on this map a year ago is almost identical to now. The exterior circle of this map is basically worthless, and it has that water aspect that I just don't think is good. As time has passed, I don't enjoy the inner portion at all anymore as much as I did last year. The overall flow of Lowtown feels really dull, and as a result, you get way too much camping and sniping and repetitive gameplay. I really have nothing positive to say about this map, so Dead Last you go.
Number 24.
Second worst, and I mean by the slimmest of margins, Red Card also falls in the all-time historically bad Call of Duty multiplayer maps list. It belongs with the likes of Piccadilly and Stonehaven, among others, and Lowtown. Red Card is one of the most boring Call of Duty experiences you'll ever play, and this is coming from a longtime Battlefield veteran that loves bigger maps. It just doesn't work for this kind of Call of Duty that heavily promotes fast-paced gameplay. There's very little fun flank routes to gain the advantage over the opposing team. The two exterior paths are very linear, and there's almost nothing going on that's interesting, basically is what it comes down to. Honestly, if Red Card ended up having like a 12v12 like mode for it like other CODs have attempted, I think this could be decent, but that's not the case, so Red Card, get out of here.
Number 23.
Rounding out the bottom three is a map I'm still not sure if people like it or hate it, besides my opinion. Personally, I despise it just as much as I did a year ago, and the only thing I'll give Scud probably is its atmosphere. I like the desert vibe with the big satellite in the middle. The issue is everything else around it. As cool as the satellite looks, it leads to really bad gameplay advantages, and I do like me some power positions to fight over in Call of Duty, but this one is just very uninteresting, and there's very little routes to get up to it, which goes hand in hand with how open this map is, and it is a problem. Whether it is from the satellite or pretty much anywhere on this map, you're most likely going to be spotted by someone from a good distance away without even realizing where it's at. Overall, the aesthetic doesn't make up for the awful design, so bottom three you go, Scud.
Number 22.
Okay, here's the first of the post-launch maps landing this low on the ranking, and if I'm being real, this is one of those maps that I don't have a lot of specifics to criticize about it. You ever play a map and just feel in your gut that this just ain't it or it isn't hitting? That's Shutdown for me. I almost never enjoy my time playing it. It's considered a small map, but it plays really large for some reason with its odd lane structure, I feel like. For example, the only way to access the middle lane on the water side is just a simple ladder. The look of it at first had me intrigued too, but when you get past that, there's not really much to offer here. And I also can't stand that stupid sloped area out in the open on the one half of the map. This is one of those maps where I think it is a big advantage to be on one half over the other. It is very difficult to overtake that sloped area when you are at the bottom. I really don't have a lot to say about it because overall it is just a basic and weirdly designed one.
Number 21.
Delaric, Durelic, however you say it, a map that started high a year ago when I played it in the beta, and down, down, down it goes with every moment that passes by. I hate the way people play this map, I feel like is most of what it is. To keep it short, if you want to be sniped randomly from someone hiding on top of a train cart or all the way back in their spawn, then this is the map for you. If you enjoy a map with a very chaotic and messy center point, then this is also the map for you. Every time I play this map, I have hope that it'll take me back to the way I felt in the beta or the early launch times last year, but all that ends up happening is I get shot from a dozen different directions without even knowing where it's coming from. Simply put, I don't like this map, and if BO7 wasn't coming out real soon and BO6 had more time, I don't see any reason that this couldn't slide down even further in the rankings.
Number 20.
Alright, the first tiny map to come in on the ranking list. Maps like this are usually very divided amongst the community as far as opinions go. This is the final map on this ranking that I hate and think is really bad as far as BO6 goes. And really it comes down to the map being way too chaotic and not a fun way, which again is a personal preference thing, but again that's why it's my list, so here you are. Originally I liked the idea of the hangar doors, for instance, opening and leading to a bunch of different options as far as like flow goes, but it all leads to bad flow. There's nothing tactical about Subsonic at all. It's just run around and be shot every 2 seconds as someone slides into your face or you slide into their face. Then you might kill said person and expect a couple more enemies right on top of you immediately. Don't get me wrong, the interior hangar area can lead to some intense fun, but I only think that is the case when the doors are shut. When they're open, it is just too much chaos for me. So overall, Subsonic comes in the 20s and the bottom 5 or 6, I believe.
Number 19.
Okay, we're out of the really bad territory and shifting more towards the below average and average maps. And sadly, there's a lot of take it or leave it forgettable stuff from Black Ops 6. I'm not too happy about disliking Vorkuta either, because I'm a sucker for some snow maps, but just not this one. Yes, some credit to how memorable a snow map can look, and the map actually contains some pretty decent flank routes in some of the areas, but I found the heavy dose of sniping to be really irritating. I also think the middle of the map is undesirable for that reason, and the area is just way too open just to be shot by anybody. And really it comes down to just the way the players play this map too. On the 2 outer lanes, they just post up and watch with snipers the whole time, waiting for you to run out in the open because there is barely any cover that's fun. I don't know, Vorkuta has its days, I feel really high on it, but overall it's pretty consistently a below average experience.
Number 18.
If you haven't caught on by now, there's a lot of launch maps low on this ranking so far, and that's no accident. BO6 didn't get off to a good start with map design, but thankfully the future seasons did bring some good stuff, but Barrage right now is not one of them. Again, not terrible or anything, but below average for sure. First off, I do love the 1960s Vietnam approach this one takes, taking place in an artillery base and a very fun war-torn feel to it. When it comes to the layout as a whole though, I do get jungle vibes, but like a bad version of jungle from Black Ops 1, which is obviously a good comparison, but not because it's a bad version. I think the main issue I have is the spawning and getting scoped by that stupid center building with the explosion side of it where you can see everything. Call of Duty loves making their spawns so exposed, and it is something I'll just never understand. Also, the overall just lanes in this one as well, I don't like them. There's nothing distinct or memorable at all. It's just kind of just run and gun. I enjoy fighting for that main center building sometimes, but like I said, its sightline is pretty overpowered on this one half of the map, and in the end, I just don't like Barrage.
Number 17.
So let's get back to another launch map already, shall we? Protocol, a map that I have soured on a bit more over time. It started very low at the initial launch, but then I was really high on it, and now it is back down. I just been on a roller coaster with this map. It's gonna go down as the high potential that just never lived up kind of map. I still love fighting over those 2 houses on both sides as far as the interiors go, and I think the bottom underneath route is loads of fun, but unfortunately it is rarely used. So that fun is actually pretty minimal, so I can't really credit the map much for that. I find the middle of this map to be almost worthless to run run around in, have fun getting picked off all the time from both of those houses on both sides. The spawns are another thing that sucks, and I still don't get why in this map that's a problem. It's a bigger map, so why have spawning issues? It just refuses to switch the spawns, and I don't know why. Like I said, this map has sent me on a roller coaster ride of emotions and opinions over the last year or so, and now it ends up at 17.
Number 16.
So Fugitive was a map I did the complete opposite with Protocol. I hated it at first, and then I quickly grew on it, and now I don't like it again that much. I mean, I don't want to say I don't like it, it's just more of middle of the pack than forgettable. I was really loving it for a little while there. Fugitive is a CIA black site prison, and that caught my attention from the rip. Sadly, its gameplay ends up feeling more like a forgettable average experience. Another map on this game that just feels a tad too big at times, even though the map isn't all that large, and I don't know what it is with these maps, but that's a common theme here. I think my main issue with this one is finding plenty of campers hiding in corners like little bitches while you run through the many doorways that this interior space has. I do, however, think there is a solid mix of sniping spots and aggressive routes you can choose from if you don't get killed by said campers all the time. There is a decent bit of close and personal engagements that you'll find some fun with here and there, while at the same time the long-range gunplay in certain spots is more than doable. Fugitive is near the middle of the rankings for a reason. It has its ups and it has its downs.
Number 15.
If I had to guess, I think Nomad is probably going to be the first controversial entry on this list. What can I say? I personally am just not a big fan of it. It's only this high up because I appreciate some of the things it does bring to the table objectively. It is yet another post-launch map that I love the aesthetic of. I'm not sure why most of the original maps had no character to them. That was definitely a choice that they made and not a good one. I do enjoy the different elevations you receive on this map, and I think it all connects and blends decently, but unless your name is Shipment or Rust, I don't really enjoy these tiny maps most of the time in Call of Duty. I think they are lazy just for going for the Shipment vibe, and they feel like messes that give Call of Duty its bad name nowadays. To my knowledge, this is designed as a strike and gunfight map, but it found its way into 6v6, so you get judged fairly among the 6v6 world, and I don't think it was a good decision making it a 6v6. Can you say 6v6 anymore? I don't think so.
Number 14.
Number 14 is Runway, not to be confused with Terminal. Definitely don't confuse it with that legendary map, because Runway is no Terminal. This is another one of those vibe maps for me. I wanted to like this one more than I did because of Terminal vibes, but I wasn't feeling it as much as I hoped. I will say a pretty well designed 3-lane layout, tons of different ways to find yourself into that middle lane. I enjoyed the unique conveyor belt path on the outer lane on the one side to give every player a different style of approaching. I don't like that most of the fighting does end up taking place in that smaller middle area. It leads to very repetitive gameplay loops, which has matches feeling the same when playing Runway, and it got old to me real quick. And as cool as the connecting paths are, the outer lanes that go with them are very sniper dominant and make you want to go down that middle area, which is why I think most of the action ends up there. I don't know, it's just a little repetitive for me and it got stale quick, so here you are at 14, Runway, middle of the pack.
Number 13.
And speaking of middle of the pack, here's a map my opinion has never even slightly changed on. Anytime I talk about Vault with anyone, I simply say it's the definition of average or middle of the pack. It's not bad, it's not good, it's not memorable, but it works and I'm willing to play it most of the time. Another one of those Black Ops 6 maps that has an interior area surrounded by a bland, boring outer circle exterior. I'm not sure why they were so obsessed with this layout structure, but it gets old and doesn't work very well most of the time. The two very end buildings on both sides are almost useless other than to just have snipers camp up and do their thing. I do think the middle section is where most of the fun is to be had, and it's easily the highlight for me of Vault. I stand by what I said last year that it reminds me of Mirage a lot, a map that I'm pretty fond of, so that's probably a good thing to be compared to. Similar to Protocol though, this map has another cool underneath pathway thing that does not get used enough, so I can't give it much credit for that. But as always, middle of the pack average you go, Vault.
Number 12.
Rig is the newer Halloween-themed map for Black Ops 6, and you can't see me doing the quotations around Halloween because it's just not a Halloween map in my opinion. I am a massive Halloween guy, so I'm all for it, but I just wasn't getting that vibes from the atmosphere here. It does have a similar kind of layout to Vault, even though this is a post-launch map. It has that big building smack in the middle of an outer area, and it actually works pretty well in this one. I do have a lot of fun gunfights in that large center building. I enjoy this middle building slightly more than Vault's, which is why it's one entry higher, but not much higher. Again, I think that exterior circle is pretty average and forgettable, but it's not bad. Recency bias has some people drooling over this one from what I've seen, and I just really don't get it. I don't know, this one doesn't have really a lot to say about it either. It's definitely not a bad map, but it's pretty bland.
Number 11.
Alright, Hideout not hitting the top 10 is for sure gonna upset some people, but what can I say? Zero chance it's any higher than average for me. Maybe above average sometimes is pushing it, but the main thing here is the spawns really set me off and make me not want to play this game ever anymore. KD isn't everything, but I'll start a match like 10-2 and then less than a minute later I'm like 11-8 just from spawning. And given zero chance to actually establish myself and defend myself for a second, because you'll just be shot as the second you spawn way too often. Most of the praise I give this map is probably objective modes like Domination, for example. I think the devs had that more in mind when they made this one, and I do think it works pretty well for that. I don't really care for the aesthetic here either. It's very basic, and I'm not going to remember it at all past Black Ops 7 coming out. I do like its mix of verticality. It's nothing crazy, but you can fight downstairs in the buildings or outside, and then you go upstairs and have decent gunfights over that interior bridge area that connects both buildings. Again, remember, I criticize, but I'm not saying it's bad. I just don't think Hideout is worthy of that fan favorite praise that it's gonna get.
Number 10.
Just like I don't think Extraction is worthy of that fan hate that it gets. Yes, it's not your typical Call of Duty styled layout, but I think that's why it grabbed me so much and I enjoyed it when Season 1 dropped. This is more of a two-lane map, I'd guess you would say. One fun warehouse for close quarter fights on the one half and nearly a wide open exterior on the other half. If you want to be a daredevil and test your skills dodging some snipers, you can go out there and have probably not a good time, which I understand, but snipers are allowed to have their areas. But if you don't feel like dealing with the snipers and want to try flanking them, they do give you a pretty decent underneath flank opportunity. I do think the path can be a little linear, and I'm not a fan of that, but options to get places is always a good thing for a map. Plus, they give you that giant tower in some matches, which is a very fun power position to fight for. I've seen some people call this map absolutely atrocious and not worth a damn, and I don't know what you're smoking. If I'm being honest, I don't get it.
Number 9.
Rewind will forever be the main, most potential map that never fully lived up to what I had in mind. Still, it ends up being, I would say, an above average experience for most matches. To this day, I still get Modern Warfare vibes from Rewind. Not a bad thing, just something I always feel playing it. Want to talk about a map with a ton of approach options? All these interior buildings connect to give the player freedom of choices for their approaches. The outside areas are pretty sniper heavy and can be a pain in spawns for some matches, which keeps this map from being a good one because I think it does have potential for that, like I said earlier, but I do have a blast running around being aggressive and involved in these close quarter intense battles in these interior buildings. And overall, I don't know, I have a pretty good time most of the time with Rewind, but it doesn't quite reach that legendary or good territory.
Number 8.
And at number 8, Dealership is another map that almost reached good territory but didn't quite hit the mark. And I gotta say, I really don't have a super strong opinion on this one either, but it's a map that I always do well on, and sometimes maps move up for your personal rankings just because of your success rate. As you would probably guess, most of this map takes place at a dealership, and again, it's kind of that big middle building surrounded by an outer circle area, but I think mostly I like this outer circle area because it slightly bleeds into the interior on the one half, if that makes any sense. I found the main center point to be a lot of fun for close quarter action. My only big big negative is the spawn trapping. I know it's a common thing, but that's Black Ops 6 for you. I think my stats really got high sometimes on this one just because of that, and I don't like to personally celebrate winning that way. Overall, I do good on dealership outside of the spawn trapping, but it definitely inflates everyone's numbers on some games, and it's a problem. But overall, I have no issue with putting this in the top 10 despite it not being a really good map.
Number 7.
Because let's face it, there's not really a whole lot of great in this game, and Babylon is another one that almost reached that mark but didn't quite get there for me. I know people have really thought a lot high on this map recently, but I just didn't quite get to that. I just want you guys to pump the brakes a little bit. I get it, this map can be fun at times, but it definitely has its problems. Because again, let's talk about spawns. And it's not like a brief spawn issue like it is in Dealership, for instance. When you get bad spawns in Babylon, you might as well just back out because you're never going to get out of being swarmed by enemies in your spawn, like literally your spawn building. I know they wanted Babylon to be their next shipment, and when it comes to that very center of the map, I do think you get kind of nice shipment type of paced action. And I think the outer circle is what brings this one so high on this list for me. I find it to be pretty fun. You have these somewhat longer range views on a small map like this, and there is plenty of cover for you to weave in and out of. And not every Call of Duty map has to be medium sized. Sometimes it is nice to take a stab at the tiny ones and have a little bit of turn your brain off fun. And sometimes they hit like Babylon, and sometimes they flop like Subsonic. It's just the way it works.
Number 6.
At number 6, just outside of the top 5, is Haven, and we have officially reached the point of me saying that every map from now on is considered good and, dare I say, great for the upper entries. I wish there was more than 6 good ones from Black Ops 6, but like I said, it didn't get off to the best start, so here we are. Anyway, though, visually, I'm not too impressed with this one and didn't have high expectations at first, but with that being said, this map plays wonderfully. This is a good example of a map playing a tad bigger than it seems, and it works well here, and it's not bland and it's not boring. A good bit of the action is closer quarters, but somehow they still manage to mix in some long-range gameplay at the same time. Tons of connecting pathways lead to a tad of chaos in times, but overall I thought it was fun. Controlled chaos, I would say, is a better term for it. I don't know, this is another one I don't have a lot of specifics to say about it. I just have a lot of fun on here, and it's always consistently good fun.
Number 5.
And here we are at the top 5 maps of Black Ops 6, and let's kick this one off with Bounty. This is a more vertical-oriented 3-lane map, and it works extremely well. Omni movement shines here very well too. Slide or jump past hallway openings, or enjoy climbing the areas that they have on both sides of the outer sides, including that sketchy billboard-looking thing on the one side that I've definitely fallen off of before, can't lie. The map has an in-your-face luxury vibe to it that can be visually stunning at times, I will say. Haven't seen a lot of praise for Bounty, and I just don't get it, and I rarely get it in map rotation because people don't vote for it. Yes, I think the snipers are almost useless on a map like this, but I don't think Call of Duty has to incorporate that into every single one of their maps. You get a little bit of sniper action on the outside windows, but between those outside windows, jumping on hanging things and having these intense battles weaving in and out of hallways, Bounty for me is a really good time.
Number 4.
Payback is a map that dropped a tad for me, but not too far, as you could see coming in at number 4 still. It's still a very, very good map in my eyes. I love when maps are well designed and go perfectly with a campaign simultaneously. This takes place at the Bulgarian safe house from BO6's story mode, and it's pretty breathtaking to look at for multiplayer COD maps' sake. Usually for me, Battlefield excels more at the breathtaking visuals from the size of their maps, but Payback really does come out swinging here. And you want to talk about match flow, then look no further than this map. Yes, it's a little bit too up-tempo, but not overly up-tempo like a Babylon or Subsonic to make you feel on edge constantly. If you want to enter that top floor of the safe house, then yes, chug your energy drinks and espressos right now because it's about to get real in here. And really, that top floor room is why I love this map so much. It is a lot of fun to battle it out for that position, but once you obtain it, good luck ever feeling safe anyways. It's a never-ending tug of war for this entire inner building here, and the downstairs area can actually have a lot of gunfights that are good too. And I almost enjoy every single second of this match, unless you get some spawn issues here and there, but I think it's few and far between, and it doesn't kill this map.
Number 3.
I know some of you watching and keeping track of the remaining maps probably thought this would be number 2 or potentially even number 1, but number 1 in this video is untouchable for me, and number 2 I have a very strong opinion on. But before we get there, let's talk about Jackpot at number 3. My goodness, does the layout of this map get a chef's kiss from me. I would say this is probably the first entry that's considered great, not good. The central room is the main focal point here, but it is surrounded by so many fun routes to choose from. The stage on the one half for me is a very unique option, and it opens up right into that center spot beautifully. Can't forget about that outdoor area too, that feels like a small map within itself. This is how you do a big map well, I'm just saying. This is a larger map, but it plays so good. And on top of that, the aesthetic here of going with a casino as a setting, you want to talk about memorable, and that's the kind of stuff I'm looking for when it comes to making a multiplayer map in a Call of Duty game. It'll give me nostalgia thinking about this one down the line, I can already tell. I know it's a generic thing to say, but I had so much fun every single time I played this map. Without a doubt in my mind, it is a level above Payback and top 3 worthy for sure.
Number 2.
I am curious to see how this opinion and entry will be amongst all of you, because I'm gonna flat out say it, Call of Duty has an all-timer on their hands with this one, and it's honestly a shame that players are only gonna play this map for a month or so before moving on to BO7, because sadly this one was just added in October, and there's maybe an obvious reason here that I love this map so much, but it is extremely unique and fun for that middle room with the zero gravity. First time I saw it, I was fascinated, and I couldn't believe that it never wore off. It's so enjoyable to go in there and jump around slowly while you fight other players from 4 different entry points to get into that room. And I think what makes this map a legendary all-timer for me is just the rest of the map outside of this room. They could have easily said screw it and just did the zero gravity thing and said the rest of the map doesn't matter, but they didn't. The 2 outer lanes mixed in long range and short range gunplay perfectly, and the 2 inner halves getting into that gravity room can lead to some pretty good gunfights, and you're trying to get position and stuff with the other team. I don't know, I was having a lot of fun in here. Sometimes things in Call of Duty are simply just cool because they try something different, and Gravity is that. I think when the time passes by, this one's going to be looked at as one of the best DLC maps ever, and I think it'll get compared to and appreciated the same way a Moon Zombie map is for Call of Duty, just for its uniqueness.
And number 1.
But as much as I love the Gravity map, it tried its best to top Skyline, and it is just not happening. Like I said about all-time DLC maps, Skyline for me will be remembered as one of the great all-time launch maps in Black Ops history, and maybe all of Call of Duty, but we will see on that one. This map is just so addictive with its match game flow. It's almost 2 different maps on 2 different levels. The pool and bar area downstairs give you a ton of action right in your face, all while players are fighting in that long hallway above your head, which they have the choice of jumping down and joining you in that gunfight on the first floor at any moment. Plus that narrow underground sneaky flank route that still not enough people use for whatever dumb reason. It's similar to the hijacked flank route, and it guarantees you some awesome flank kills for sure. And on top of that incredibly fun gameplay Skyline provides for Black Ops 6, it is another stunning map to just look at. Amazing light glares and the overall atmosphere are some of the best in the game, and may be the best in the game. My only slight critique is maybe some more cover on that first floor in the middle area, but that's a very slight critique, and I don't think it breaks anything. All in all, Gravity gave it a runs for its money, but Skyline will forever remain as Black Ops 6's best map since launch day. So that's it. You now have my full ranking of every multiplayer map in Black Ops 6. Agree? Disagree? Cry in the comments, go right ahead, I can take it. I'm just playing. I would love to hear from you guys with your rankings in the comments though, in all seriousness, so let me know on that one. Be sure to subscribe to the channel as well. If you love videos about games, movies, and shows, then I got you covered if that's what you like. So subscribe, what are we doing here? I hope you all have a great rest of your day. That is gonna be it for me in this one. See ya!